Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Susie, and these are my partners, Catherine and Christina, and we are the co-founders of Spark. Spark connects college students with guides and tools in order to promote exploration and confidence in decision building. I want you all to think back to a time when you were 18, 19, 20. How did you all make decisions about your lives? If you went to college, how did you decide what school to go to? What degree to do? How did you decide what your future career pathway would look like? Were those decisions based on what your family expected of you? What maybe an advisor told you to do? Was it based on what your friends were doing? How many of you out there felt that you had ownership over the decisions you were making and had a real awareness of what was available? So the ability to explore your vision and dreams for the future is agency, and also the freedom to make your own choices and the confidence to act on those choices. But agency is no longer a nice to have for college students. It has become a foundational, essential skill, because today's job market has moved from long-term traditional career pathways to a knowledge-based landscape where professionals need flexibility and mobility and understanding how their skills can map to different career paths. It will probably come as no surprise to anyone in this room that traditional four-year universities are outdated in their approach. Many are still operating on an industrial model of education, churning out assembly line workers with a particular skill set geared toward a very particular profession. We recognize that there are efforts being made to change this, to adapt to the needs of today's students, such as project-based learning, such as testing for mastery rather than for scores. But the reality is that institutions are still struggling to adopt many of these efforts, and frankly, the change just isn't happening fast enough. And first-generation college students are particularly affected by this. They have unique barriers. For example, they're navigating the college system for the very first time. They don't have access to parental guidance that many of their peers have. They also feel often an increased pressure to succeed, being the first members of their families to attend college. And often, due to a lack of resources, they feel a limitation in their ability to explore, to take risks. Unlike their peers, they don't see college itself as a means of exploration, but instead as a means to get a degree to prepare them for a very particular field. And this disparity in the ability to build agency is also reflected in a concrete economic disparity for first-generation students. In fact, they go on to earn on average 10% less than their peers who've had parents who have graduated from college. So we know that the decisions that first-generation college students are making while in college really do matter. And we also heard this in our research in the field.
So we talked with a number of first-generation college students, including Kristen. This is Kristen. She is majoring in health management. Her entire family is in the healthcare field, and she told us about how she came to her major. Although she is very driven, she's academically successful, and she is on track for a successful academic career and career beyond, she actually indicated a lot of discomfort with her choice in college path. She says, "I never actually wanted to be a nurse. Hopefully life doesn't get to the point where I actually have to rely on this." So Kristen, who actually is going to be successful in what she's doing, doesn't actually think she likes the path that she's on. Unfortunately, in our conversations, she did not identify other options that she wanted or even felt like she had. She also is lacking access to the support and resources that could help her explore what those options even could be. So while she doesn't want to go on to be in healthcare management, odds are Kristen is going to graduate and go into healthcare management. This is her current worldview. She sees her future as locked in to a single goal without a lot of other options. But we envision a world where Kristen and other first-generation college students' worldview looks a little wider like this, able to see lots of options, to identify them, and to feel the agency to explore them. So we're building it. We are building Spark, which is a platform that connects college students with guides and tools in order to promote exploration and build confidence in decision making. Now, we we exist to build the agency that we believe is critical for first-generation college students to help close this gap. But what does building agency mean? In our hours of conversations with first-generation college students, we uncovered 3 truths that we believe are essential and must be present for any product or service that seeks to build agency. Those are the following. First, agency is not built in isolation. It's not enough to give students a digital tool and just say, go learn agency on your own. Agency is built through validation and testing and feedback from other people. It requires the presence of others. Secondly, agency requires consistency of presence. It's also not enough to simply have one conversation that could spark a different idea. In fact, we saw a lot of people in our research who were majoring simply because they heard a cool thing one time and decided to choose that major, and similarly felt locked in or on this kind of one-way road. Agency requires consistency of presence, investment, and support over time. And thirdly, agency is developed through exploration and reflection. So in our tool, we develop tools for provocation and expanding multiple perspectives, introducing students to multiple perspectives to help this agency develop. So we're going to walk you through what Spark is.
Within Spark, first-generation college students are paired together with a guide. Our digital platform is a space where they can exchange communication, set up scheduling, and it also contains the core of our product, learning modules. I'm going to walk you through what the journey looks like for a student to use Spark. Students are paired together with a guide because agency is not built in isolation. The guide serves as a consistent presence to ask questions in the moment, challenge perspectives, and also to provide their own opinion and experiences. One fascinating thing we found in our research was that successful pairs are aligned based on geography and schedule. So within our app, we pair people based on their location and their availability, because one of the most essential parts of gaining agency is consistency. Our learning modules are the core of our product that guide the interactions between students and their guides. There are 52 learning modules designed to spark conversation and reflection. These building blocks lead to a broadened perspective over time. The learning modules are dynamic and non-sequential. In the spirit of true agency and learning, pairs can choose which activities to complete each week. And since they build on each other and they're dynamic, an activity that people complete one week may yield new insights when they complete it again. Catherine's going to tell you a little bit about our pilot.
So we designed something we think is essential and will work. How do we actually know if it does? Spark is designed to be a one-year span over a one academic year. But we developed some of these activities in real life, and we're looking for how do we approximate whether what we have designed is actually starting to take steps toward building what we believe constitutes agency. So we put this out in the world, and we developed a few criteria. We were looking for specific things from the college students who went through this program with us. We were looking for, does a college student identify new ways to solve a problem? Does the student uncover alternate paths or name new goals that they had not said before? And does a student take any new actions as a result of this? So to pilot this, we put together 3 pairs out of 6 people, 3 guides and 3 college students. As Christina mentioned, we found that a major indicator of success for pairings is actually a simple matter of logistics more than any other sort of skill or background. So we paired them based just on where they were in Austin and when they had free time in their week. And we gave them all 2 activities to take place over the course of 2 meetings. And this is what we heard. Alex went through one of our exercises called Many Paths, which was a multiple problem solution identification process. And he identified that he was having some real communication challenges with his team. Normally, he said he just thought of addressing problems as, I'll try it, it works or it doesn't, and I move on. But he and his guide went through this activity and named multiple different ways that he could try communicating with his team better. And he told us, right after he tried this project, or this activity, He called his team members and said, hey, if we try it this way, we can really focus and get things done. You all remember Kristen from earlier. She also was a student pilot participant. And she went through a goal visioning exercise with her guide. And that was toward uncovering what other things could she be doing, along with, or maybe even instead of, health management, that were more aligned with the ways that she saw herself in the future. And Kristen said the value that she found was in naming some of these new goals, but far beyond that, it was learning how she actually thinks about her future and how she actually makes choices. She said one of my favorite things, parts of this, was the things that I learned about myself. So we've got some really positive signals from this pilot. We are excited about the indicators we're getting that this not only can work in the world, but also can play a real point of value for these students.
So we see a future where Spark is adopted by universities, by colleges, by student support organizations, and where first-generation college students can become aware of the opportunities available to them and have the confidence to make well-informed decisions about their own futures. With Spark, we believe that first-generation college students will build the agency that they need in order to respond to today's economic market. Thank you very much. Again, we're Spark, and we look forward to talking to you after the presentations.